Hi, I'm Steve Darshevsky. I have been a middle or high school teacher for 10 years. Although I have taught many different content areas, the majority of my experience is in the social sciences. I firmly believe digital technology is going to revolutionize the education environment. It is this belief that played a major role in why I decided to obtain my master's degree in educational technology. I want to be the driving force of this change, not only within my school district, but also within every aspect of education. I believe through the MET program at Boise State University, I have a solid foundation to do just that. I now seek to have a greater impact on decisions made outside of my classroom and have begun to consider the doctoral program as well. Four projects completed in the EdTech program provide an excellent snapshot of my master's education. In EdTech 503, I learned about instructional design. Throughout the course, I analyzed, designed, evaluated, and revised a fictitious project for the school district I worked. Upon completion of the course, it occurred to me, why should this project remain fictitious? Therefore, I took my research and analysis report, used the information within it, and designed an asynchronous online professional development for my colleagues. The professional development introduces and guides participants through the basic features of and steps to create a class in Haiku's learning management system. I used the free version of Canvas as the delivery platform for the professional development. Here you can see Canvas, and this is the free version. I have you looking at the modules page. You can see each of the different lessons that are available. I begin with an overview of what Haiku is, an introduction to the professional development, followed by the CARP design principles, which is contrast, alignment, repetition, and proximity. Following the CARP principles, I actually go into the features of Haiku, beginning with how to create a class, enrolling students, page and design layout, assignments and the Dropbox feature, discussions and polls, creating assessments, creating wiki projects. I conclude the professional development with a training evaluation for the participants to complete. Their feedback helps me both improve and revise the professional development for future use. I'm going to show you one of the pages of the professional development. The reason I'm only showing one is because of using the CARP design principles, primarily repetition. Most of the pages will look very similar to the one you are about to see. It begins with an introduction to the lesson, followed by the objectives that the participants will get out of the lesson, the procedure. Almost every page has a video to watch, as well as other features such as PowerPoints or discussions. And then this particular page ends in an assessment of the CARP design principles. Taking into consideration multiple instructional design theories, I determined the professional development will include all three major theories. It first focuses on the instructivist design theory as participants read and learn about Haiku's features. The training then transitions to a constructivist design theory as the participants create and publish content to their course. Finally, the focus shifts to a connectivist design theory as the participants are encouraged to share their products with peers and ultimately use their course within their own classroom. As schools become larger, technology more advanced, and the needs of students more diverse, there's a greater need for online instruction. The design and delivery of an online course can greatly impact the success of the course. In EdTech 512, I explored various design and delivery methods that facilitate a successful course. Upon completion of EdTech 512, I created a course that, although was designed to be online, could also be delivered in a face-to-face environment. That following semester, I used this course within my classroom, a face-to-face environment, to teach about the late 20th century American history. Overwhelmingly, the students either met or exceeded my expectations of them. I was most concerned with the justification presentation students were required to deliver at the end of the course. In the presentation, students shared and defended their findings in front of their class and a panel of peer judges. The questions the panel asked each student and the expert's response demonstrated clear evidence of the achievement of the objectives. In this course, I used Haiku as my delivery platform. Here is the introduction page to the course. Begins with a welcome message, and following the very same CARP principles I used in the professional development, practically every page looks very similar. Each module ends in a practice test and then a link to the next module, as well as sources and citations. If we move to the final module, you'll see the information that is included in the feature presentation that the students are asked to conduct. Following this presentation, each student is then asked to complete a course evaluation to provide me with feedback in order to both improve and revise the course. The course is linked to Illinois and Common Core standards, as is highlighted in the standards page. One concept that has grown in popularity over the past 10 to 20 years, though it is not a new concept and has been used for centuries, is games-based learning and gamification. The growth in popularity is sparked by the advancement of digital technology. In EdTech 504, I wrote a synthesis of games-based learning, describing it and providing examples of its use within a social science classroom. EdTech 531 and EdTech 532 expanded my understanding and views of games-based learning. In EdTech 531, my classmates and I used 3D Game Lab, created by Boise State University, to complete quests. The quests are designed to further my understanding and knowledge of games-based learning and theories and practices. Here we have an example of 3D Game Lab. The page you're looking at right now is a badge or reward page in which you earn rewards for completing certain quests. This page is the quests page, and if you click on available, it will show you which quests are available to be completed within the course. You have different groups. It'll show you the rankings, and if you show according to experience points, it puts you in order from most experience points down to the least experience points, and then you have announcements that you can get from your professor. In EdTech 531, using Celia Pierce's book, Communities of Play, as a guide, the class focused on the methodology of social construction in learning. In the final project for this course, I created a virtual lesson in Minecraft. Here we have a basic overview of the lesson. The objectives are to identify the differences between private enterprise and large corporations, the pros and cons of working in both a private enterprise and large corporations, evaluating experiences and determine which system is a better concept, and to support the decisions based on evidence from the experiences in the lesson or any prior knowledge. The flexibility of this lesson could be anywhere from 2 days to a week, depending on how much time the instructor has for it. And then a just basic overview of the steps within the lesson. Continuing forward, we can see the lesson. I began my creation of this lesson with the idea that this platform could be expanded to include additional lessons from the social sciences or any other content area. To accomplish this objective, I created a TARDIS to transport students to different lessons in time and space through the push of a button. Fellow Whovians will immediately understand the reference, and yes, it is larger on the inside. Here we have our button. This button will transport the participant, the student, to the first learning environment. In this lesson, students are transported to an environment in which they are instructed to choose a square in which to build anything they would like. They then determine the cost of their work by setting a price for their item. Once the build stage is completed, students attempt to buy and sell products. They negotiate on a fair price and try to make a profit. Students and the instructor conduct an in-class discussion on the benefits and drawbacks of private enterprise. Once the discussion is complete, students leave the build area and head over to our next transport button, which will take the students to the next learning environment. In this portion of the lesson, students experience working together for a large corporation. Using a recreation of the first Ford assembly plant as my design model, students are instructed to build as many cars as possible, paying careful attention that their builds are exact replicas of the prototype. Here we have an example of one of the prototypes. The students are given a set amount of time determined by the instructor to accomplish this task. Following the activity, students and the instructor meet behind the building to conduct another discussion on the benefits and drawbacks of working for a large corporation. Providing a hands-on virtual environment allows students to experience and explore concepts that were previously not possible. Along the same philosophy as EdTech 531, EdTech 532 used the virtual world Second Life to further my understanding of games-based learning. Through the course and use of 3D Game Lab, I learned about the constructivist theory established by Jean Piaget and Lev Vygotsky, as well as the ideas of digital learning theorist Mark Prensky. Using the knowledge gained, I recreated a live simulation completed in my classroom for the last 4 years within Second Life. In this simulation, I repurposed a building to resemble Ellis Island. The objective is to allow students the ability to experience the confusion, chaos, and difficulty of immigrating to the United States at the turn of the 20th century. Students are required to research and create artifacts prior to the simulation, then complete the simulation, and finally reflect on their experiences. To conclude the lesson, students produce a presentation using their choice of medium to illustrate their journey to the United States, the experience at Ellis Island, and their life in the country after entry.
Created using Powtoon. Created using Powtoon.
Entering the EdTech program 2 years ago, I was very apprehensive. I had not been enrolled in school for nearly 10 years. I did not know what to expect. However, through the guidance of my professors and sincere dedication on my part, I have learned more than I had ever expected. I transitioned from someone who was unable to read HTML code to someone who can now read and even write code. The greatest accomplishment from the EdTech program is the transition from someone who occasionally used technology in the classroom to an educational technology leader. I am always looking for ways to integrate technology into my own teaching and suggesting ways for my colleagues to do the same.